drive-in. Tell them that we went to the drive-in.
Planet of the Dinosaurs is a personal favorite of mine. I saw this one on VHS years back. I got it like with another movie. I think it was like Reptilicus or something like that. We'll get to him one day too. And yeah, it's just been a personal favorite of mine. This one is from 1977, and it is an awesome little sci-fi fantasy adventure movie produced and directed by James Shea. A spaceship crash lands on a planet full of dinosaurs? Why not, man? Right away we get our title screen with this creepy as hell music. It has that doom is coming sound to it. We see a ship heading towards a planet that kind of looks like Earth, but turns out they're having some kind of engine troubles.
All personnel to emergency stations.
So the captain ejects a bunch of lifeboats with himself and several of the other crew members aboard. They're actually the only ones on the lifeboat that made it. We have a bunch of characters here, and I'm going to introduce them right after they crash because they're all kind of sitting around and it'll just be easier. So they crash into a lake. They all abandon ship as it sinks to the bottom of the water. Feels kind of like Planet of the Apes so far. Okay, let's try to introduce all these characters that we're working with here. We have Charlotte, played by Charlotte Spears, Harvey Baylor, played by Harvey Shawn, Mike, played by Max Thayer, who kind of looks a lot like Mark Hamill, Captain Lee Norsa, played by Louis Lawless, Cindy, played by Mary Appleshay, Nyla, played by Pam Baroto, Chuck, played by Chuck Pennington, Jim, played by James Whitworth, who you might recognize as Jupiter from The Hills Have Eyes, and Derna Lee, played by Derna Wild. I had to say all those names as fast as I could.
Couple plans. I need to be in New York on Monday, LA on Tuesday, New York on Wednesday, LA on Thursday, New York on Friday. Got it? Got it.
And a lot of the names in the movie are pretty much their names in real life, too. Chuck swims out to see if maybe the radio is still floating out there somewhere in the lake. Unfortunately, Cindy follows him, but she doesn't make it. So they pack up what they do have and they move farther inland. We get a nice blue filter to make it look like it's dark while it's clearly still daytime while they shot this. Along the way, Mike gives Derna a space laser, or a space gun, whatever you want to call it. And, well, they had 3.
How's the laser?
Dead.
Mike, you've cost us one of the few remaining weapons that we have.
Now 2. Good job. Why did no one give Chuck a shirt, by the way? I mean, he had to have one when he got off the ship. They keep walking until they decide to take a break. So in this scene, we kind of start to see who's hot for each other. Mike, Derma, and Nyla, and the captain. Chuck is still kind of shook up over Cindy dying. And that Jim really isn't down with any of the captain's plans. And Baylor is a dick. Then they hear this.
It's a hunting call. Whatever is out there is carnivorous. That sounds very, very hungry.
Next day when the team heads out, we see our first dinosaur. And it looks pretty damn good. But they don't seem too shocked to see it. They guess this planet is just a younger version of Earth and they got stuck in a time warp or something.
Here.
Look! Over there!
They also find the aftermath of the hunting call from the night before.
What could have done that?
Some very large predator.
And then we walk a little more. Until we decide to take another rest, and then we walk a little more. But that's interrupted by a Stegosaurus. And a T-Rex. The T-Rex makes short work of the Stegosaurus, which gives the space explorers a chance to escape. The captain decides to head up this mountain/plateau and make camp on top of it, and hopes that none of the big dinosaurs can get up there to reach them. On the way up, we get another rest break, and Harvey wants some water. He asks his secretary Derma to go get it for him. Mike steps in and tells him to go get it himself. She says she can, he says don't, Harvey says someone go get me some damn water, so then Derma quits. So Harvey has to go out on his own and get water. Comedy at its best here. The captain needs 2 people to scout out the area ahead, so he has Nyla and Harvey go check it out. Harvey gives up and sits down right next to some eggs. He starts talking about lunch when Mama Dinosaur shows up, and she's not happy he has her eggs. And she makes short work of him, too. Not for nothing, but did he really think running towards the cliff was a good idea? They bury him and walk away because nobody cares. Ouch. So they get to walking again. I think this movie might have more walking than Lord of the Rings. Jim is sick of walking at this point, and I have to agree with him. He fights with the captain about what they should do. He wants to set up camp and defend the area and fight back against any dinosaur that comes their way. The captain says not on my watch. He wants to keep moving up the mountain and to a better area because he thinks that help is actually on its way. Jim doesn't think that's going to happen, but he says, all right, I'll go along with it for now. They find a nice place and decide to build a camp. Nyla is attacked by a monster spider, and Jim saves her from it. Not as big as the tarantula or the one from Earth versus the giant spider. You know what? I told you we get a lot of bugs this season. There's another monster bug for you.
Safe, huh?
On the other side of the stronghold, Mike is trying really hard for Derna. Maybe he figures with her boss being dead, he has a chance. If there was ever for a time for a dinosaur to eat someone, now would be it. And poor Chuck still does not have a shirt. He's setting up some kind of communication responders and hope that help does hear them. But we do have dinosaurs in this movie. Chuck and Jim rescue Charlotte and drive the beast away. And Jim has had enough of this. He says we gotta start killing these dinosaurs. So they say, hey, let's try eating this carcass, but nah, something else gets it instead. I keep calling them space explorers, by the way, because in my own weird way, I kind of hope this is also set in the same timeline as Voltron. I don't know. Don't ask. I don't think dinosaur meat would taste very good, but this is part of Jim's plan to take a stand on this planet. Charlotte has the hots for Chuck. Must be because the poor guy is still walking around half nude. But then again, thank God for dinosaurs. Derna picks a bad time to start giving a shit about the weapons. Poor Mike. There goes all his shots of the lady. Now Jim is super pissed and he's going after the T-Rex. Probably because the girl-to-guy ratio is now 2 to 4 and he doesn't have much of a chance. Once again, the captain says, hold on, I have a plan. What they decide to do is use bait to draw out the T-Rex this time. They fill another smaller dinosaur full of poisonous berries and hopes the T-Rex will pick it up and eat it. Jim thinks this plan is fucking stupid. They get the bait, and they get the berries, and they head to where they think the T-Rex's lair is. He actually outsmarts them this time. Looks like that plan didn't work at all. All right, now we try Jim's plan. Lee, in a strange outburst, tries to draw the monster out, which actually works. While the T-Rex chases him, he runs into a Rhinoceros, which is also the dinosaur that was in A Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. So, okay, now in this universe, if my theory is correct, we have Voltron and the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. I kind of like that. Now back to the rest of the group. They get a giant log or something. It collides right into the point of that spear. But does it work? Oh, yes, it does. See, if we went with Jim in the beginning, we wouldn't have had all these problems.
Jim! Jim! Jim!
Somebody get me out of here! I told you we can do it.
Our last scene of the movie shows the remaining space explorers trying to make the best of what they have. Oh, and Charlotte and I guess Chuck end up having a baby. The end. Like I said, this is definitely one of my personal favorites. Rewatching it again all these years later, it wasn't as good as I remember, but I still love it. The stop motion effects still look pretty good. The story of being lost on an alien dinosaur planet and having to survive hoping that one day help is going to come for you is pretty scary. The cast is pretty good too. I wish we had less walking scenes and more like action with dinosaurs and maybe one or two more people getting eaten. Do I recommend this one? Absolutely I do. It's cheesy good fun. Get a couple beers and some pizzas and watch Planet of the Dinosaurs.